Mr. Edit Man presents, what's the dumbest thing you have ever been afraid of as a child? The shark in the pool. The shark in my pool was going to come out of the light in the deep end. That's where pool sharks live. I was afraid Chucky would crawl up from the toilet while I was pooping and stab me in the butt. I have no idea why I thought this would happen. Also doorway gremlins. Legit was afraid I would walk through a door and there would be gremlin monsters on the other side at the top waiting to pounce on me and kill me. Again, no idea why I thought this would happen. The best friend of my dad ... Honestly, he is such a funny, amazing and nice person, and I was literally crying and screaming while running away. The man at the bottom of the stairs. I have never seen his spooky ass, but I know he chases me up every time. All my siblings and I have this. Him turning 30 and that creepy-ass man shadow creature is still pacing with me up the stairs on a daily slow when I'm walking, practically flying when I'm running for my life. But I somehow always just barely make it up alive when it's just a whiff away and breathing down my back before I reach the top and make the final dash to my bedroom, closing the door and dramatically huffing and puffing in my own horror movie scene. Flushing the toilet at night. It seemed so loud and would literally freak me out. Small Soldiers. I remember having nightmares after I watched that film. The Heifer Lumps and Woozle song from Winnie the Pooh. The vacuum cleaner. As a baby, strangely enough, I was not afraid of the vacuum cleaner and actually loved to ride on it. I also had a toy car large enough for me to sit in it. It scared the life out of me. I used to have a recurring nightmare about a vampire parrot that we kept as a pet for some reason. In my dream, it was a family pet, and we just kept him in a cage, hanging from the ceiling in the hall. It was just a regular looking parrot, totally unassuming. My family believed it was just a cute, feathery, colorful critter, but nobody else realized. It would feed on me when they could not see it. It would steal my blood when I cried to my parents. They refused to believe me. Nobody believed me. Here's the thing. It did not bite me to drain my blood. It hooked me up to and forth and drained my blood directly into its little bird body. I do not actually know how it managed to do this. There would be some twist of dream logic and suddenly it was just happening. In the dream, I would be sitting in a chair, fourth attached, blood draining into the evil bird. My parents might even be standing right there. I would cry and cry because has taking too much of my blood. Mommy has going to kill me. It was all happening right in front of them, but they would just tell me to stop making things up. It's like they could not see the dark transfer unfolding right in front of them. And the bird knew. I never actually had a parrot as a pet. He only existed in my dreams. But he popped in to have his feast every week or so for a significant period of my 3-year-old life. The time before I was old enough to realize I was too large to be sucked down the bathtub drain. Me too. I hated the noise it made with the last dregs of water going down. I'd have to run out the room before it got there. Balloons. Specifically, balloons popping. When I was really young, my dad popped one near my face as a joke, but it really traumatized me. I hated going to birthday parties because there were always games where you had to pop a balloon in some form. I eventually grew out of it, but even now at 32 I still feel a bit uneasy when I hear that sound. At 5. I was afraid that if people talked malarkey about the wind it would send a tornado to kill them. One time my dad said, "Damn, it's so windy," and I was like, "Dad, no." Automatic stairs. I thought if I would not jump in time I would be trapped and crushed. Pressure cookers. My grandmother's house had a huge dent in the ceiling from the pressure cooker lid. So ... not unreasonable. Shots/vaccinations. I was convinced that my veins were already full of blood, and injecting any more liquid into them would cause them to explode. I was very anxious about eating soup. I thought we had a stomach-like compartment for solids, and a separate one for liquids. The solids were processed by the body and became poop. The liquids were processed and became urine. Two complete systems independent of each other. If food or drink went where it was not meant to go, the person would cough and splutter to give the body a chance to move it to the appropriate receptacle, hence the concerned parent saying, "Oops, wrong hole, you okay?" Someone told me it was unhealthy to have a drink with your meal, when in fact the opposite is true, reinforcing this separate systems idea in my mind. So where did soup go? The chunky kind ... And what about stews? Gravy? Ice cream? The more I thought about it, the more anxious I became. God hearing me swearing. Sometimes I would hide in the closet from God and just chanted for a while all the bad words I had learned from the older kids. My sister is 6 years older than me and my twin. When we were 5ish she told us she was secretly a witch and she needed to eat children to survive. The red lights from cell towers. They always looked so scary at night. Santa Claus. Nothing scary than a old man coming down the chimney of little kids and giving the presents. I was afraid of grass for a long time, but particularly male clover. I do not know why. Edit. Cannot find a picture of male clover, but they were thin strands of bumps with like little seeds you could rip off effortless, not harmful plants at all. You know the sound a dove and pigeon makes? I used to think they were ghosts. I thought my parents were lying to me about it being birds. I would run back into the house if I heard one sing ... My brothers convinced me that Jaws and other sharks would be attracted to my red life jacket and made me terrified of jumping into the water of a freshwater lake. I was scared my poop would somehow come out the small gap between the toilet and the seat, so I used to poop with my legs sticking out straight so it would not get on me. Physics was never going to be a strong suit for me. Land sharks. Sharks don't walk around the beach at night. Tapeworms. As a child I asked my parents why it was so itchy down there. After learning the horrific truth I was so terrified that I held in a mega doochie for hours. The most painful screening of Air Force One I have ever had the displeasure of enduring. I'm a larky you not. Flowers. I was afraid I could kill people with my thoughts. Apropos of nothing, except maybe my mildly Catholic upbringing. I decided if I did not pray every night to every religious figure I could think of, I had a really long list memorized. Oh my god. I was so neurotic. Somehow the universe would know and my loved ones would die. I was about 7. It was around the time where you make first confession and communion. So I guess it caught religion. I got over it after about a year. Getting shocked if I try to plug in an electrical appliance. I was terrified of the Operation game. I would have full-on panic attacks if I saw it within my vicinity. I think it was the BZZZZ noise / electrical shock / red nose that scared me so much. I was absolutely horrified by that game. My poor mother just wanted me as a child to have fun XD. I was terrified of mustard as a kid. I'm over 50 and to this day never ever dangle any of my limbs over the edge of the bed because I'm convinced something evil lives under the bed, and no matter where I have lived, this has been the case since I was 5 and not only watched the Evil Doll episode and Trilogy of Terror, but also was terrified by the tiny people who lived in the walls in 1973's Do Not Be Afraid of the Dark. Leaving my closet door open at night. I thought Komodo dragons were gonna be a much bigger threat than they actually are. I live in England. I was terrified of them. I was afraid of long, dark corridors. Mainly because I could not see what would kill me. Now hear me out ... I was also afraid of lit, long corridors. Maybe because I would be able to see what would kill me. Teenagers. I was an only child and I was absolutely terrified of kids who were a lot older than me. My mom had a hell of a time taking me to the mall or to a movie. I'm in my 30s now and I'm pretty sure the only time I was never scared of teenagers was when I myself was a teenager. When I was like 5 I ate a burger and threw up later that night. It was food poisoning, but nobody ever told me that's what it was. So I developed this irrational fear that I had inhaled something from the air that made me sick. So for like a few years I tried not to open my mouth and breathe in too hard when it was nighttime. The dark. Deep down we all know it's harmless. But we have also all felt something when getting a midnight snack like boy, when the lights are off call me Usain Bolt, because by the time the power shuts off I'm already up the stairs and in my room. Escalators. I thought I would get sucked into the inside of it at the top stair. My doll coming to life and strangling me. Thank you malarkey T horror flicks. Gas masks. Creepy MFS. Mannequins. I would have this really weird nightmare where a group of mannequins were skating, and when I saw one I was afraid that it would move and kill me. How did they skate though? Bloody Mary. My bed used to face a door. Since I was always a scaredy cat, my parents left the light in the living room on at night. The bulb used to get reflected in my shiny doorknob. Twice. and made it look like there was a pair of demonic eyes constantly watching over me. It used to scare the malarkey out of me when I was a kid. You have made it until the end of this video. Now listen here, and listen here closely. Like and subscribe for more curated content from Mr. Edit Man. Thanks for watching.